Hi there. Good afternoon. Well, it's not afternoon for everyone, but hello to you all. Let's go ahead and get started. Everybody should have their notes from yesterday, a Q-tip or a tissue, and a pencil and a pencil sharpener. So I'm going to go ahead and sharpen my pencil. We're going to start shading today. Yay! Not the best sharpener in the world. So we're going to do some conversations here to get started. And another thing you're going to need is some scratch paper. That way you don't smear your hand across your work. So I personally have a piece of Xerox paper here, and I'm just going to cover my work, and we're going to talk about shading. So we're going to pretend that this is a sphere, okay? I'm going to grab my sphere and so we can talk about it further. Now we're going to make a connection. Remember this guy where there's a lamp and the highlight is here and then it gradually gets darker as it goes away? Well, that's what we're going to be doing with the face of the E here. So we're going to think about that. So I know that the spotlight is hitting here. Let's draw an arrow right here. I also know that it's hitting here and here. Can you all see that? So I had to figure out how to make this face, this front part of the E, as light as possible with a faint little shadow, just like I would say the number 1 and 2 value here. We all did a value range. Here's a number 1 right here. Here's a number 2. Let's number this. This is a number 3. This is a number 4. And this is a number 5. So somebody's microphone is on. I think it was yours, John. So make sure that you number 1 to 5. Make sure you have those 3 arrows. And then please give me a yes so we can move on. I just don't want to jump ahead. This is going to be a pretty key concept, so I really hope you're focused and not distracted. I know that's hard to stay focused at home, but we're going to try our best, okay? So with this E, and now I've covered it so I don't have my hands smearing, I am going to do as light as possible some shading on the E. So I'm barely grazing with the side of my pencil, this part of the E at the very bottom. You can barely see it. And I'm continuing it. It's almost white. So it just has a hint on the little corners. Not a lot. This is the number 2 value. This is as light as you can go with your pencil. I let her in. Leroy.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're drawing right now. I can multitask now. My turn.
And that's why you the master and we're the students.
You're adorable.
All right, Ms. Brown, I'm done.
All right. So once you're done lightly shading, I would like another thumbs up. Another yes. I don't want to go too fast. MJ, I know you just got in here. What I asked the students to do, I put the sphere next to the E to discuss how the E is like the sphere. And so this area, we drew 3 arrows, and that's where the light is hitting. So that's going to be white. And then the further it goes away on the face of the E, I just barely put a hint of a number 2 value, as light as you can go with your pencil. Do you understand? Leroy, I'm going to mute you. MJ, can you talk to me?
Yes.
So did you understand what you need to do?
Somewhat. Just the number 2 hit on the corner thing.
Yeah, like right here, and right here. Just barely.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the next step is we're going to have some discussion here. The creases of the E, the sun doesn't hit. The light does not hit. And so that's going to be like the deepest, darkest areas of the shading. So with your number 5 value, I'm going to just go as dark as I can into this part of the E right here. And right in here. As deep and as dark as we can go. Your turn. And just give me a yes when you're done so I get an idea of what's going on. Half of the class is done. I'm still waiting for the other half. Okay, the majority of you are done. So that area the sun could not reach those little creases, that light source. The other place where it's not going to reach it is as far as possible, and that's going to be this area right in here, here, and here. So go ahead and work on those. So that's a number 5. That's as dark as possible. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little areas. It's starting to pop a little bit now. And just give me a little yes when you're ready to roll. I'm so happy we're finally at shading and discussing shading. Half of the class is ready, waiting on the other half. Okay, so now we need to look at that value range again. Let me see if I can zoom out here. So we have our ones, which is right here. We have our 2, which is further away on the face of the E. But we're missing our 3s, our 4s, and our 5s. So I would say when the sun, the light is hitting right here, let's add that arrow. It's going to be lighter under here and then gradually getting darker on the bottom of the E because the light does sort of wrap around. So there, I'm going to just barely graze it, and then I'm going to do like a value range without lines between it. So that's light. And then here I'm going to get a little bit darker because it's further away. And then here I'm going to get a little bit darker, more pressure because it's the farthest away from that corner. So it's a little value range on that E. Does that make sense? And then the darkest is the furthest part. That's that area. So we did like a little transition on that one. Think about the value range. I think a lot of you are like, why is she making us shade spheres? But I think now you're starting to understand the philosophy of how they connect. Artists always use basic shapes to study how to shade the face, how to shade letters, and this is all gonna connect one from another. I know one point the perspective was pretty hard, and now that you're understanding the building blocks, it's gonna make how you see everything else that we draw more dimensionally, and how to study lighting. So it's going to be really impactful. I'm giving you the ingredients and the tools to become a stronger artist. We're not going the elementary route with our art. We're going the professional fundamentals of art. This is what all of the philosophers and famous artists and the Renaissance and all that, this is how they studied and shaded and did all these kinds of things. Okay, it looks like we're all ready. So you're going to do the same thing, that light to medium to dark on this one and this one. So I'm going to move my paper up so I don't smear it. So it's going to be a little bit lighter here, the side of my pencil, and then it gradually gets darker and darker. And if there's weird little transitions, you can get your little Q-tip and kind of go over it, blend it out more. I'm trying to make it transition a little bit darker, so I'm going to overlap a little more. Same here, starts off a little bit lighter, then it gradually gets darker and darker. I find this very therapeutic. I don't expect you guys to be perfect, but I just want you to try with all your heart. I care about effort. I'm gonna lift this off and see how this looks. Oh yeah. Soften this up with my Q-tip. Give me a little yes when you're ready to roll. I don't know if you guys can really see. The 1, the 2, the 3. Okay, half of you are done. So now I don't like how this looks from this. I'm going to just go over this line right here and make this even darker. And this one right here, I really want to see that crease. And this crease right here. We want to see those folds. That's what makes it look real. Some of you forgot to do the creases and the folds on your W's, your E's, and your M's. Those crease lines, or on the undercarriage of your R's or your A's, that's what makes it look dimensional. So if you're not happy with how your number 2 value is from 1 to 2, you can always use the other side of the Q-tip. I'm using the clean side this time, and I'm just kind of softening it on the E. It has 5 values. May I move on? Yes or no? Okay, I'm waiting for 13 people. That's the problem. It's hard to jump ahead. Now waiting for 10 people. I don't know if they got up and walked away or if they're just not engaging. Okay, there we go. So we're going to label these just because we can. Right here at the top, I'm going to make this a number 1. And then next to it is a number 2 value. Over here is a 3. Over here should be a 4. And then over here, I guess we'll say, is a 5. So you see all those different value ranges? Please label them. If you want to put a little arrow next to the 1 and 2, that's fine too. I don't care. I just want you to understand that it has a transition of the entire full value range here. If you don't have at least a 1 to 5, then your object is going to look flat. Everything should have a full value range. Now we got a value range of like 12 values, but at least 5 is good. Okay. Just give me a little yes so I know that we're ready to move on. I'm going to scooch my letter to the next one here. We're going to scoot over and we're going to start talking about this bad boy, because this one's going to be shaded completely different from the other one because of its location. I'm waiting for half the class. For me personally, I like to start with the lights and work my way to the darks, but other times it's easier for me to understand by doing the number 2 to the number 5. So this light is the same light. It's going to hit right here. So this is going to be the number 1 right here, because that's where the light hits it the most. So the entire face of the E this time is going to be a 2 and a 3, I would say, because this is the 1. So it's going to be as light as possible here, and then it's going to transition to a 3. So watch me first. I'm going to tilt my paper at an angle because I can't move my hand side to side otherwise. So I'm going to barely graze the paper for the 2 here. And then I'm going to go heavier to a 3. And it's going to take me a little time to kind of get it. A 3 in here. A 3 in here. And I use my Q-tip to just kind of go the opposite direction to fill in the E and soften it up so I'm not too harsh on the corners. And then I use the back side of my Q-tip and kind of blend the two as best as I can. And when you are done, just give me a yes. I know that it's going to take you guys a little time because that was kind of a big one. Okay? Press clear. Go ahead. I'm going to label this one 1. All of this dust in the air is getting my allergies up. So far, only a third of the class is ready. For those of you that are ready, I don't want you to be bored to tears. So right here, this one's going to be a 5. This one's going to be a 5. So that's as dark as you can go with your pencil. I feel bad because this class, you're not able to play the video at your own pace because I make the videos in this class most of the time. The other classes can fast forward, they can pause. You could always do that after I make the video for like student support. Hopefully I get it to you in that time or later in the day. So if you're struggling with this and you want to wait till the video, as long as you turn it in today. And then I would say this is a 3 and this is a 4 because you have like kind of that light bending around the letter. So you don't want it too light. You don't want it too dark. So me, I would look at my value range. Okay, what does a 3 look like? It's darker than a 2, but it's not quite as dark as a 4. And kind of like do like a little value range, a little darker to a 4. You want to soften it up with your little Q-tip to make it look richer and then fainter here. If you want to soften up any of this, I feel like it looks a little liney, so I'm going to go the opposite direction with my Q-tip in kind of circular motion, try to blend that out. So it's totally different than the other one. I'm going to get a little darker along this edge. Trying to make it look like a transition of like maybe a 3/4, and then here's a 5 right along that edge. Yeah, that made it pop better. I like that more. Whatever is the opposite of that light source is going to be the darkest. And so you want to feel that dark to help things pop and appear dimensional. So when you're done, just give me that yes, please. I just cleared it right now. All right. So let's see how much time we have here. The bell's going to ring at 12:03. Oh, we got plenty of time. Very good. I think we're going to finish this today. Yay. So now we're going to look at the bottom one right here. And I'm going to break this down into numbers, and we're going to label it and see how you do. So let's see here. The light, let's draw an arrow right here. And the light would be right here on this one. While we're at it, we can draw an arrow right here for the right side and right here. So you can see where the light is hitting. So those are our ones. So I'm going to put a 1 right here and a 1 right here. 1, 1. The further it goes away is a 2 for this guy. I'll zoom in a bit. You guys see that? And then here, this is a 1, and this is a 2. Now, how do I explain this? Why don't we just do the 2s on both of those? Let's lightly put a little hint of 2 right here. Let's lightly do a little hint of 2 right here on those 2 tops of the letters. Barely grazing your pencil on those 2 areas. I don't know if I can zoom in anymore. Can you see that little hint? So now that we've established where the lightest parts are, I'm going to establish the darkest parts, the number 5s. I would say this little crevice in here is the darkest because this whole top part is blocking it. So that's a number 5. And this is a number 5. It's kind of hard to label those ones. I'm just going to do them. And then there's reflective light and other cast light. So this right here is a 4. This is a 4. So let's go ahead and do those. It's a little bit lighter than a 5. Go in different directions. I cross-hatch it. That 4 should disappear that I wrote on. But it's not quite as dark as a 5. Circular motion, crosshatch, whatever it takes to help you get it in there. Does anybody have any questions? Leroy, is this easy to understand? Oh, I muted you. Now you can't unmute, I think. Oh, I can't unmute you.
Hello?
Yeah, is this easy to understand?
Yeah, it's for me. It's easy right now, and I'm getting everything almost exactly how you doing it. So
Yay.
I feel like I'm doing it well.
Okay,
I
good.
got all three of them done right now. Well,
Now that they're
the
drawn,
first
drawing them is the hardest part, I think.
yeah, the shading it's not that difficult.
Okay, good. So now, can we move on to the next one, or should I wait? Am I going too fast?
For me, I'm already done, so
Okay.
you can
Why
move
don't
on
you
for me.
guys
I
give
don't know
me a
about the rest of
yes
the class.
if you're ready? Because what might be easy for Leroy this time may be hard for somebody else. It's funny because you guys are all different and special in your own ways. And so sometimes it's hard for me to gauge. So right now I only have 11 students that are ready. So that tells me we're not ready for the next step. I'll wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, and whoever is struggling, I don't feel I had a hard time drawing the E's, so
Yeah, the E was really hard. That's why I did an E. Because I think a lot of people think they know it all and they think everything's easy. And so I thought an E was humbling. Like, yes, you still need me, guys. Pay attention. S's are hard. Um, it depends. A Q, a W, it all depends on the location. And shading is really hard to wrap our heads around. So I hope me connecting it to the sphere helps. Okay, now we have 22 out of 35 students done. I'm going to go ahead and start with the last number 5s. These little areas right here, it's like a sliver. That's a 5. This is a 5. And this is a 5 because it's the furthest away from the light. Your turn. Your mic's on and I can hear you scruffling around, so I'm muting you, Roy. Okay. I feel like we have, let's see here, 10 minutes. We can get a little bit more done. I'm going to do some labeling and then you guys can, get a better idea, and we'll finish shading this tomorrow. I don't want you guys to feel super rushed and stressed. So, to me, I would say for the E face on this one, it would be a 2 and a 3. Okay? So similar to how we did this top one, it would be a 2, barely grazing the paper. I went a little dark. And then transitioning darker to a 3. Then I'm going to soften it up with my Q-tip. We want the 3 darker than the 2. And then we're going to stop after this and we'll do the last E tomorrow. And then I'm just going to softly blend this a bit. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to do a screenshot of that. I don't know if it'll let me.
And Ms. Brown, we turning this in as a proof of practice for today?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because the bell is going to ring. It takes you time to take the picture and submit. So I took a picture of that. I believe, let me see if I made the assignment for you guys, a proof of practice. So one person's already turned it in. Look at you. Let's see what we have. I'm so excited. Oh, that's McKenna. Never mind. She's not really in this class. She's like a pretend student. But yes, the assignment is in there. And I'm going to go ahead and put that photograph of what I just created on your agenda for today, just so that the other classes know exactly what we did and end of result, and they need to follow the directions because Miss Brown's super picky. I don't play around. So there it is on the agenda. Matter of fact, I could have touched it up a bit more, but I think we did a great job. That's a lot. We're learning some hard things today. I could have blended the 4 a bit more. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Any other questions for the good of the group before I turn off the video? All right. I'm going to go ahead and, if you want to take off and submit your work, you're more than able to. I see that Sarahi sent me a chat. I'm going to turn off the recording and submit. Thank you.